Before I start this show, I have a very special episode for you today. We're going to be talking about a community that's happening in Oklahoma known as the Retro Game Society and an upcoming event happening on October 26th at 6 p.m., an event called Artcade. So this will be a 2-episode event. We'll have a part A that will be talking about the Retro Game Society, and in part B will be about the Artcade. So sit back and enjoy the episodes. Welcome to another fun episode of the In-Game Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, a.k.a. your retro activist, a.k.a. your in-game boss. And I have a very, very special guest. And what makes this so special is this is my 10th episode. This is like my finale of my first season. Because like if you've been listening to my show, it's always a stage 1 dash, another number. And I always wanted to do it like Mario, where we go from all the way like 10 levels and then you hop another world. So I work on like new music and everything. But this finale here, we got a special mini boss, and she is a fantastic woman. I met her a while back, and I think I want to say I met her at Super Big Con. We chatted a little bit, but then from there, we went to Artcade, where she hosted this magnificent performance of art and everything like that. I'll let her talk a little bit more about that. But on this show, we're going to be talking about Retro Game Society, but there is a part B to this, so don't leave. Make sure you stay here to listen, and we'll be talking about an event coming up. But this is Miss Stacy Dunn. How are you?
I am special and fantastic. You said I was special like 3 times, and it made me feel really good.
Right. I feel like if you play a lot of video games, if you have a series, there's always that one boss that's just special in that one entry, and then you don't know if they're going to come back or not. You know what I mean? Like, Mario, like Mario World, you'll get like kind of like new enemies, and then you'll get those special bosses for a moment, or Mario Galaxy.
Or like a shiny Pokemon.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I forgot you're a big Pokemon fan. Are you excited for Hey Pikachu? And
I am. I just, like I said, since I've been doing the whole bodybuilding thing, I've kind of shifted my focus away from gaming because I have a tendency to play games too heavily whenever I start a game, or
So you think as of right now, gaming is kind of distracting for your ideal goal that you're trying to reach?
Right. It has to take a back seat. I mean, I still, as far as all the events go and the Retro Gamer Society is concerned, I still do that very heavily. I'm very active in that, but actually playing the games right now, I have not done as much.
Is there now, when you do get a chance, do you play like games that doesn't have to put a lot of investment into it, like say like maybe like a Tetris game or puzzle games like that, just for like kind of like break the tension for a little bit? Nothing to commit. It's like you're not doing an RPG, you're not going to jump into that, because that's definitely going to take you away from your bodybuilding goals and everything like that.
Sometimes, but even then, like I fully recognize, and I've talked about this before, I fully recognize that I have an obsessive compulsion to just playing a game for a really long time, especially when it's an RPG.
It's funny because now these games are trying to tell you you've been playing for so amount, maybe you should take a rest now, kind of thing.
It was like Netflix. Are you still here?
Yeah, exactly.
One single tier. Yeah, I'm still here.
Exactly, because I was playing. What was this game? Oh, I was playing Morpheus Final Fantasy that was on the phone, but now it made it to PC, and I started to dap into it. And for people who don't know, it's basically a touchscreen game, but like it plays like a regular RPG game. It's actually pretty fun. Never thought it was going to be fun with a mouse just clicking and all this stuff. But it will tell me straight up, like, you've been playing for 2 hours. Maybe you should take a break. It's not shutting off on you, but it's just saying, maybe you should take a break. I was like, no, I'm good, man.
It's enough for you to get a little bit offended, like, excuse me, sir.
Right. Yeah. But I think a lot of games are now going in that direction. I guess maybe, I don't know. It's one of those, like, it takes one person to ruin it for everybody. So maybe someone out there was on the news or something about that, like, just fell out from playing games too long. Like, okay, now we're gonna put a warning label on it.
The hot coffee of games, like the one person.
Yeah. Exactly. And so, but for people that don't know, this is a podcast show where we talk about fun gaming. But my goal is to challenge you guys with a bunch of questions, and we're gonna try to answer those at the end of the show. But this is a special one because this is more of an interview where we're gonna get to know, this community in Oklahoma called the Retro Game Society. And this is a group that been around, but it's one of those things I like follow and it just appears, but I never really like dipped into that world yet. I always been so busy, but once in a while I'll see people post up, hey, this game is for sale. Hey, look what I found, all this stuff, and we're gonna get more into that. But let's go ahead and do a little thing called News and Update, where we talk about some news that's going on. So, there is a game called Fallout 76. I'm pretty sure you heard of this, Miss Stacy.
Boo! I'm just kidding. I haven't looked into it too heavily.
But you're aware of it, right? And and you know the concept of it, right?
Yes.
So for people that don't know yet, or I don't know where you've been, but Fallout 76 is basically now like a multiplayer style where it's up to I think 12 people in sharing the same map, same server as they explore this giant world. And you can go in with your group of friends, or you can go in as a stranger.
Can you eat your friends? Because I know cannibalism was a thing.
I think that should be a thing.
That would be awesome.
I think you should. I don't know if it's weird because if you respawn, would it be creepy to come back and just see your past body?
Get eating your dead body. That'd be pretty funny. They should do that.
That'd be awkward, right? Right? It's like. My past me died from. I don't know. That's just if that happens, you need to do it.
I took it there.
You need to do that, but you got to get the perk, right?
Yeah.
But the thing about it is it's not one of those things where you level up and you get to pick the perk you want. I think they said you have to find cards that gives you perks.
Oh, okay.
So you search for your perks and then what you get. So that's what I heard, but I'm not 100% sure. It's coming out November 14th, right around the corner. But they had their beta this last week, and people were saying the game is not looking really good graphically, but it's a beta. They'll ship everything. They're talking about the multiplayer is kind of chaotic because people are talking about it's basically if you're with a group of people that are very talkative and you're trying to listen to somebody give you a mission or something, it can easily get overthrown by people just talking. Yeah. And then on top of that, they were mentioning that what did they say? Oh, the VAT system is a little different because you can't freeze time. You can't freeze time and aim and stuff. So I have to watch more video about how the VAT system works, but it's not anything like
to where you could just it'd make that noise where it's like
I don't know if it's one of those maybe time slows down for a second, maybe you shoot your target, but there's no way where you can sit and just decide what body part you want. I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how that's going to work if everybody's going to shoot the same enemy too, and it's what's the point of freezing time? It has to be something maybe slow motion, and then maybe you can do something really quick. You have a time limit or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe what I have is better. I don't know. I have to look more into that. But I think one of the things people are very upset is that there's no other humans. They're all robots that you get your missions from. So all your NPCs are all robots. And that's kind of disappointing because it's we're supposed to be the first people out of this vault. That's what 76 is. We're the first people to come out of the vault. We're Vault 1.
Uh-huh.
And we're coming out of this. I would think that are we the very first humans, I guess, and that's why everybody's robots or something?
That's what I'm trying to, just create the scenario in my mind. My guess then is that the story is revolving around the very first people that came out. Everyone else got wiped out. But then there were the mutated people as well.
Yeah, like the super mutants, all that stuff. Yeah, see, they probably do exist, but I don't know.
Maybe not in the beta?
Right. Maybe. But at the same time, too, it's funny about Fallout because Fallout is basically giving you a period, but they're not telling you what is going around the whole world. Just because we're the first people doesn't mean we're the first people, probably.
Right.
We're the first people maybe in this state, but they're saying we're the first people ever. I don't believe that.
Or in that region or in that area, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not 100% sure. But regardless, I think it would have been better if there was more people, just in general, because I think it's just better than finding robots because... Well, who made the robots? I'm pretty sure the humans did. Mm-hmm. Mr. Robot or whatever those their names are. Mr. Handy. I remember. Someone made Mr. Handy. I know that wasn't something that was just there chilling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but you were telling me off before we recorded that you're a little iffy on sharing this world with people.
Yeah, I've always been more of a fan of things like Skyrim in general, just like the atmosphere, like the post-apocalyptic thing for me, does work in Fallout 3. Mm-hmm. It does work in New Vegas. 4, it was okay. The base building was all right. Mm-hmm. But Borderlands, I think, in my opinion, did the best in that that realm.
Right.
Because after a while, games like that, and even Borderlands at some point, points throughout the game, having that look and that feel of it just being a dead earth. It gets, for me, as someone that pays attention to aesthetics, it just gets kind of boring.
I think that's why, like, since Borderlands 2 and Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, they try to make the city a little bit, or that world a little bit more active per se, or give you a lot of structure there, so you got stuff to do. Like you have like New Vegas, you got the big city, but then you have the dam, then you have all this kind of stuff. Compared to like the old Fallout, it was really just like sand, maybe small little towns here and there.
Yeah.
And so I actually like Fallout 4. I think 3 has a better story and a better structure, but 4 improved a lot of stuff that I really like. That if they decide to remaster 3, I hope they use the gameplay style from 4 to that one.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
And so, but 76, I am kind of iffy about it, but at the same time, I think it's one of those games where you have to just choose your friends, and hopefully you'll have a good time doing that. You know what I mean? But you can't go at it by yourself. You'll still be sharing it with 12 people, but you'll be by yourself. And also, too, we don't know, how they say it's the biggest map in the Fallout game period. So we don't know how big it is. When are you going to see another person?
Right. And I wonder if this is going to be similar to Elder Scrolls Online in that kind of dynamic.
So would you like an Elder Scrolls, not Elder Scrolls Online, but this structure like 76, where it's just you, maybe like 3 other warriors, just traveling the giant lands?
More like Diablo, kind of, where it's just like a smaller team.
Yeah.
I would probably like that more than 12 people. Or if you got to choose the amount, I think that for me that would be better.
I think it's because that Skyrim I think the difference between Elder Scroll and Fallout, there's not really a class. It's really just you, and you pick and choose how you want to be that kind of person. Compared to Elder Scrolls, it's more pick your class, you're dedicated to this class, and you have different people that have different personalities doing this with you. But I think 76 is more like, you're still you, I'm still me, but you want to be a cannibal, and I want to build a house, something like that.
Carpenters and cannibals.
So that if you eat me, you got a free house out of it. So take a look at that. Think about that. If you find the perk, let me know. Let me know so I can let everybody know. Like, she's gonna eat all y'all when y'all die. So don't.
It's very true. That's how I do anything in life, though. I find cards just laying around, and I absorb the ability through the cards.
It'd be awesome if you just don't tell anybody you have the cannibal.
Yeah.
And just surprise everybody. Say, oh, he's dead, guys. I got this.
I invite them all over for a smorgasbord.
Right. Did you ever like a cannibal in the Fallout 3? Did you do any of that?
Yeah.
I never got a chance to do it.
I always like doing the side stories in games like that, where you could either be like a vampire or a werewolf or a cannibal. I like that kind of, weirder.
Do you do that like on your first time through, or is that more like after you beat the game, now you're like, I'm just going to experiment?
Oh, no. First time through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always do I'm like, this is really weird. I'm going to go this route. It's going to be fun.
Okay. All right. So that's it for our news. Like I said, we got a big episode for you, but we do have some news. So for people that don't know that we also have 3 other shows. So Game Halls of Rivalries, you are now listening to Bowser and Dr. Robotnik. If you haven't heard that one, please go listen to it. Our 90s biggest rivals. I mean, they're the rivals to the most top rivals of all time to me is Mario and Sonic.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Agree.
So you have the 2 giant enemies that rival each other out as like the most well-known bosses in the 90s. And I think they set the platform of, if you're doing a series, you got to make sure you have a dedicated villain that can, carry that series and whatnot. Are you a Robotnik or are you a Bowser fan? Which one are you more of?
I would say Bowser, especially because of Bowsette now.
Yeah. I know, right? I talked about that on one of my episodes. Like, I want that to be a thing.
I do too.
But not like how the culture's doing it, but just how Nintendo can just make a wife for Bowser. And like maybe she can be the one like taking over Bowser's spot, like Bowser's gone or something, and she wants to go after the Mario Brothers. I don't know.
I've seen those memes where it's like, I'm canceling Smash because of Bowsette.
I know, right? you know there's gonna be DLC somewhere. Peach is gonna.
It has to be.
Right.
If Nintendo was smart enough to create Mario Maker out of people, building levels, they need to do this.
Right. And I think it's funny too because I was talking about Robotnik had they did a DeviantArt for the daughter. Have you heard about that one?
Oh no, I haven't.
Okay, so if you play Sonic Mania, there is a level where he is a spider, and he's in this giant spider, but he's upside down. And if you look a little closer, it looks like that he basically has looks like he has like a daughter or something to it. Because if you look closer, his head is upside down, but it looks like a daughter. And so like in the like if you really look hard at it, if you're looking at it right now, like look, his head is upside down on a body.
I could see where his mustache resembles hair.
Right. But like if you look at the spider thing, I can live with a robotic having a daughter. I think that would just be funny, or like being a character in the in the series. I think that would be an awesome idea.
Yeah.
So, I swear, man, Nintendo fans and like Sega fans, they really take it to the top. I mean, we had the Uganda Knuckles last year, right? People know how to take something and just ride it out to death, right?
Yes.
And so, but that's what's going on in the Game of Halls of Rivalries. But the newest one coming out by the time you listen to this will be Dante and Bayonetta. And we'll see how they rival each other. Have you played any of those, Stacy? The Devil May Cry and Bayonetta?
Bayonetta I haven't played much of, but Devil May Cry, like way back when I did.
And just for a fun fact when you come listen to that show, that the two characters were actually created by the same person.
Oh.
Yeah, because the guy left Capcom to create Platinum Games, and that's where he created Bayonetta. So kudos to him.
Right.
And he's the guy that created the Resident Evil series. This guy was really well known, and then he's the one that was in charge of Clover Studios. That was the people that did, Okami and Beautiful Joe and all that stuff. Yeah, and then he just went in and did his own thing because Clover Studios got shut down. He went straight to make Platinum, and now you can see a lot of stuff that it looks like a spin-off of Capcom's stuff, right? And I really like Platinum Games a lot. I think they do a really good job.
Bayonetta is the epitome of doing your own thing.
Yes.
I'm familiar with it. I just haven't played through the whole game.
Yeah. So definitely check out that episode. Another show we have on here is called Bond Never Dies, and that's our James Bond dedicated show where we go through all the James Bond. We are now in the Roger Moore era, and the one that's coming right up is The Man with the Golden Gun. That one's an interesting one. One of the highlights, he has a third nipple, if anybody didn't know that. Yeah. Are you a Bond fan? Have you ever dipped in the Bond series?
Not a whole lot, no.
Let me guess, you jumped in the Pierce Brosnan's era like everybody else, right?
No, the only Bond related stuff I've seen a couple of the movies, but the only thing I was really interested in was GoldenEye. The game,
and that's why I said like Pierce Brosnan, because he was on the cover,
and his weird like extension, like his weird mouth thing,
exactly. Well, I'm pretty sure you're familiar, not so much watching the series, but you're familiar of some of the actors that have played Bond, like Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, and now Daniel Craig. And so, but we are now in the Roger Moore era, and a lot of familiar stuff that we remember from other movies are from the Roger Moore. If you're an Austin Power person, Roger Moore is the ones that they really take off, like Dr. Evil. Even though he started off as one of the villains from the very beginning of Spectre, but you had a bunch of other characters like Goldmember, all the stuff. Some of those ridiculous characters and the ridiculous styles and stuff like that came from more of the Roger Moore era. Okay. So definitely check that out. And also, too, you said you're a GoldenEye fan. Well, if you remember the Moonraker weapon, the laser gun, that's from the movie Moonraker. And then the golden gun, of course, is from the Man with the Golden Gun. And so definitely give us a listen and let us know what you guys think of the show and everything like that. And then we have our last one, Area 44. That's hosted by my buddy John. I'm his co-host on there. And he talks about more games that's going on right now and just kind of building on the culture of that. So definitely check out his new episode. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it has to do with this month. So, and speaking of that, are you going to dress up for Halloween?
I actually am. Last night I bought a Dragon Ball Bulma costume.
Is that your favorite character, or is that someone like, I can rock that?
It's a little bit of both. I do like Bulma a lot, just because she was always like really, well, minus the whole Yamcha thing and the kind of the Vegeta thing. At first she was really independent,
Yeah, since like Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they kind of pushed her to the side a little bit during Z.
Her.
Yeah. And that kind of saddened me because I think Bulma should have got a way bigger spotlight than Chi-Chi.
Yeah, and she's a genius too. She makes all of those things.
Capsule Corpse. Yeah. And so it's just sad that you would think that she would be more hands-on with the Dragon Ball Z cast, like with different devices to help like boost their powers. She should be helping the humans. Like Krillin could be a Super Saiyan in human form if Bulma made like a pill or something that gives him super boost. That's possible in that world.
But you know what Krillin is? Krillin is a super friend. That's his power.
All humans are super friends. Tien is a super friend. But I'll tell you one thing. I give Yamcha the biggest credit out of everyone. He did the smartest thing. He went to go be a professional baseball player and making buku money.
Well, if I recall, he's not doing that anymore. Or at least in Super, he wasn't.
Well, not Super. But at the time, like when they kind of brushed him off.
Oh, okay.
He was like, I got the power. I'm going to go make money because really I can't save the world anymore. I'm not at their power. So what is my supposed to do as human? I can make some money. So let me go do that. I'm better
than these humans, and I kind of have an edge here.
Yeah. Right. So I give Yamcha credit. And I give Krillin and Tien, they're trying to be strong, but there's no way they're going to reach that. So they should have just went that path. Krillin only, like, what'd he do? He just grew his hair and just got married.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, but anyways, that's the end of our update. And we're going to go right into one of my favorite news segments, Baby Come Back. And, I love that song. That song is like, I always never knew that was like by them, but I really like this song a lot. My parents like this song, but the words fit perfectly what we're going to be talking about because,
that's baby making music.
Right. Any kind of fool can see that, we want you back. We want you back. So what is this about? Well, we talk about games in our past that's been obsolete or gone for the longest time, and we miss them. We want them to come back. And now we're in this era where everybody's trying to bring this old history book back of all these games. Like the Switch just got announced. They're getting an HD version of Grandia 2 and Grandia.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that would be really good.
Yeah, so like a lot of these retro games are coming back on Surface, but they're trying to like put a new fresh coat of paint on it. And it's only going to be soon where we're going to see a bunch of games from the old Square Enix or Squaresoft, basically.
Saga Frontier would be nice.
Yeah, I think we're going to get those fresh coat of paint too. Right? Even Secret of Mana got a remastered.
Right.
And yet Chrono Trigger's not here yet.
Oh.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
Like I don't know. I would love to just get in a room with one of those developers and just say, is it development hell, or is it that you can't live up to the expectations of what people want from that because Chrono Cross was not what people desire, but even though it's still a good game?
I just want to shake them. There's a lot of things that they choose to come out with, and you're like, why? Well, yeah, when you have things like Chrono Trigger, that it's a gold mine. What are you waiting for?
I think, too, at the same time, I actually sat back and thought about it, and this is not the game for people who are listening. This is not the game. But I always thought about, like, if they brought this up to date, how challenging would it be to just go back and forth time traveling? You know what I mean? Like when you have to travel back and that whole structure of your, especially in the 3D world, that whole structure map has to redevelop itself. Back in the caveman times, back to the future.
But it wouldn't have to be in a 3D world because we have games like Octopath Traveler that...
Oh, so you would like this to stay as like a remastered, but keep it like, that kind of style, kind of top-down-ish?
Yeah.
Okay. I would do the Octopath Traveler treatment. I would like that.
That's something I would definitely like.
I think people, though, at the time were wanting a 3D world one. That's what they want. Kind of like the Final Fantasy VII. They wanted that.
Wrong.
So
I'm just kidding.
No, I think now that Octopath Traveler shows that we can take this old school and just make it more like 3D in front of you with the awesome backgrounds.
Make it in depth.
Yeah. It's just I think that fits a lot better for that.
Too.
But I don't know how it's gonna be from a top-down point of view unless they're gonna do it exactly like that style, 2D side scroller. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but maybe that's something we'll have to talk about in the future. Maybe I'll have you come on and we'll talk about how we can crack the trigger that is Chrono Trigger. But the game we're talking about is a game that's been out around the time where Mario, not so much Mario, but Mario is the star of this game we're going to be talking about. But Squaresoft was like on the top tier when it came to the Super Nintendo era. Like they bust out everything so much that other developers were trying to bust their own thing. I think because of Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana, Final Fantasy VI is where Earthbound got created. I think Earthbound came out because they wanted a piece of that pie. I think Secret of Evermore, even though they say it doesn't count as a Squaresoft game, I think it counts, but they're throwing that in there. What other games? Terra Gamma, that was a game in Europe that was by Enix at the time. Illusion of Gaia.
Those are all really good ones.
Yeah, like all these games start just popping up. Soul Blazer, all these kind of games. And this one game was experimental because you took a game that was so popular and meshed it with the most popular developers of the RPGs. And that's, Super Mario RPG 7-star, Legend of the Seven Stars. And that game was a game I was very nervous to play when I was little because, one, I still wasn't in the RPG game yet because I didn't understand how RPG games work. I didn't understand the turn-based or anything like that. But you're taking something that I love so much and you're doing something that I wasn't understanding yet. So I didn't get a chance to play. But now going back years later to play that, I regret that I never took advantage of playing it when I was little because that game was amazing at the time.
I can tell you the first time I played it, I still remember. It was, I think it was Christmas of either 96 or 97. I ended up, my brother and I, it was a shared gift. We both got it for Christmas. And I was playing it, and luckily I could read at that age. Fun fact, I learned to read pretty early, which was nice because I was able to play Super Mario RPG.
For my listeners, how old were you at the time?
6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In that time. I should have mentioned that. And I remember my dad sitting on the couch watching, very perplexed, just kind of with his hand on his chin, squinting his eyes, and he's like, "Why are they standing in place?"
Right.
And I was trying to explain to him like how turn-based games work, but it was all for naught. They played Mario 3 with me whenever I was younger, but that was about the extent of it, and maybe Donkey Kong. But when it came down to other games, they had no idea, no clue, but they got them for us.
Right. So they, like every parent most in the 90s, they mostly dropped off after the NES, and it was us further on for the kids. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. One thing I like about the Super Mario RPG, going back, finally getting into this is the first Mario game other than Mario 3 that I realized that it felt like a play. It felt like everybody was you had these awesome backgrounds, but it looks like you're on a stage play. Everybody's in their roles, And I remember when I played that game that I didn't know that this was a game where it's turn-based, but you are still involved of the decisions that you made.
Timed attack.
Yeah. And I did not know that, okay, I want to jump on his head. I say that's traditional. That's Mario. So, but they're telling you hey, if you press A at the right time, you get a chance for a double jump, or you get the stomp attack at the right point. I was like, that is weird, and I did not know that exists at the time, and that was really cool. What are some things to you that stand out about this particular game?
I think the art style for me stood out a lot. That was one of the things that really drew me in. The unique characters, we're looking at a screen here, just Malo and Gino and how they appear, how vibrant the colors are, all these things, and just how easy the game was to play.
It was easy.
It's very intuitive.
It was easy. It was easy.
For people that might not have played RPGs in the past.
And I also like they kept it traditionally because every Mario game has 7 worlds, hence the 7-star in this one, and you're going to different worlds. But what made this one so in-depth to me was each world really had a meaning compared to the other series. Because like in the old Marios, you just hop worlds, you complete and move on. But when we go further in, we're learning a history of the characters that we're in this journey. We go to the Cloud World where we learn about Marlo, sorry. What's his name? I'm sorry. Marlo.
Like Marshmallow.
Yeah. Just making sure. I thought it was something else. But Mello, you learn about his history and his people. And it's like, whoa, that is weird. And then you learn about Gino, all these people. And speaking of those two characters, those are two characters that became iconic so quickly for the community. And because they're the only ones in that series and they just never came off. Now you only see them, it's like in Smash Bros. As like costume. Well, at least Gino, Marlo's.
I wonder if it has to do with licensing.
It is, I think, because I think Square Enix at the time owned the rights to those two characters.
And Nintendo couldn't carry them onto other things.
Exactly, because for people that don't know that this series couldn't continue, I don't know, because I think this was the game that broke the camel's back, and they just went off their own ways, because that's when they were dedicated to Sony's PlayStation, and we never saw anything come back to Nintendo.
Yep.
Not the 64, not the GameCube.
Yeah, I think that was the turning point.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was just a giant battle of, you got to use your characters like this, not like this, because Nintendo's very strict on how they want their characters being used in their games, right? And so, but this game spin off to, you know, Mario and Luigi's Superstar Saga, which that's a great series, and also Paper Mario. So
I wonder if it had anything to do with that Nintendo PlayStation too.
That too.
Yeah. Where they were going to make that system together, and Sony basically burned Nintendo, or vice versa.
Because it was wasn't a debate on they wanted to stay cartridge, but Sony wanted to go disc.
Something like that.
Yeah. And so I guess like Sony split off and they convinced Square Enix like this is the way of the future.
Probably.
Yeah. But I think this game needs to come back now because I think that there's still a story there that can still be told. I think these characters, I think there's more to Gino and Marlo that we don't know yet. And
I would agree with that, yeah.
And I think that there's right now, we have seen so many new characters just come into the Mario world. Rosalina, now Bowsette.
Wow, Luigi.
Wario hasn't even appeared in these series or anything like that. None of those characters made it into the RPG series, Paper or Mario Luigi Saga. None of those. That's crazy, right? But I think this is the time that we can get these characters to come back in and just make this one giant epic adventure.
I think that this game, instead of doing a remake, I think they would be better off doing a continuation with this same exact style.
So you want a continuation, not like a fresh coat of paint, upgraded graphics or anything?
I would be completely satisfied if they extended the story.
Okay. So like, would you like the family of all the Mario cast in this one, or would you still pick like, let's keep it low, let's keep it the way the cast was, you know? Would you want Bowser Jr. to be in part of this now? Do you want the Waluigi and Wario? Do you want Toad and Toadette?
Yeah, I think that those things would be interesting to have in there as cameos. And Nintendo's really good about branding and marketing and throwing things in there and making people find Easter eggs. Having the main cast that they had in Mario RPG and then maybe adding 2 new characters.
Right.
I think would be the best way to do it.
Even if like Waluigi or like those characters end up being like people you fight, at least they can be like acknowledged into the game.
Yes,
because I think this game could be a great history lesson for everybody. If you go through this series and meet all these characters, it could be a giant history lesson that we can learn from all this kind of stuff. Like it can be referenced to like maybe they go to a world where, you know, Wario, that's the first time Wario exists, like in the Super Mario Land era. You know what I mean? And or like, you know, I honestly, Waluigi only he appeared I think in like Mario Golf or something.
It was like Mario Tennis or Mario Golf.
One of those, some sport game. But even this is a perfect time for Bowsette. Actually, now that I think about it, I think Bowsette should take the lead for this one. I think like she kicked Bowser out again.
Character, yeah. And then instead of Bowser, you could have Bowsette.
Yeah.
There we go.
I think there's money. There's money on the table. But I think that this game should be. I think this game should get the same treatment as Octopath Traveler 2. I think that should
definitely.
And I think it just looks so gorgeous, but you got to get those two to play nice again. And I think the Octopath Traveler is a good start, and maybe those developers should be the ones in charge of that.
Well, I did notice that there's a lot of Final Fantasy games coming out for the Switch.
I know,
so
right?
I think the licensing, I don't know how to phrase that, but I know that since those things are becoming available, that there might be an opportunity for Square and Nintendo to collaborate and make a game again.
So if the game got announced, how do you think your reaction would it be like, what a coincidence, or would you think you would like be one of those people like you pause for a minute like, no, this has happened?
I would think that Nintendo listened in on our podcast and they're like, you know what, that's a really good idea. And
right.
Oh, speaking of which, I have a great story. So when I was a kid, I basically came up with Smash. I want everyone to know because I sent Nintendo this huge packet of like a game where you know whenever you're a kid you're like, if Goku and Superman were to get in a fight, who would win?
Right.
And I started doing that with Nintendo characters, and I wrote down all these abilities they would have, the different stages they could fight on, and just threw in a bunch of characters. And I'm sure some of them weren't even Nintendo characters because at this time I was probably like 6. And I sent it off in this big fat packet that my mom mailed for me, and they sent me back this certified Nintendo letter and said, thank you for your idea. I wish I still had that letter, but it was really neat. And then Super Smash Brothers came out, I think the next year.
So it was that close?
Yeah, it was within a frame of time where I was like, I came up with that. Like I legitimately thought that when I was little.
Did you come up with the title?
No.
Okay.
No. I didn't have any title for it. I'm like, here's my game idea, and I put like Banjo-Kazooie and a bunch of other characters in it.
Yeah, we still haven't seen a Banjo-Kazooie yet. You see, it almost came true for you if Banjo-Kazooie made it on that list. You know what I mean? And so, are you excited for Smash Brothers? By the way,
I am. Yeah.
Awesome. But that's the end of our segment. But what do you guys think? Do you think it's time for Mario to come back? I think it's time to come back. I think either way. I think either it is a continuation or just a fresh coat of paint. This is a game that hasn't hit like in the virtual console since the Wii. I have not seen this game hit the consoles, not even on the Wii U. And now that we're getting this new subscription, and now once again we got to start from the very beginning. We got to get through the NESs, to get to the Super Nintendo. I swear we're never going to get to the GameCubes. I know we're not, because there's some GameCube games I want to play on there.
It's like the Disney Vault.
I know, right? And so hopefully I will. If this came on the consoles, I would play it again, just to play it again. But yes, we and Stacy would love just the continuation. There's a lot more characters. There's a big story out there. I know that that both studios are now getting more younger developers. So I think that there's some crazy ideas they can do. Like Mario Odyssey was a pretty crazy game because it was all young developers, and so I think there's a lot of ideas in there. I don't think in the 90s those developers would never do. Mario with all these costumes and acting more goofy. And who knows? Maybe Luigi will actually be a playable character in this one. He's not really a playable character in Paper Mario, and most of the time he's mostly scared of Mario and Luigi. But by the way, have you played Paper Mario and Super Mario Luigi Superstar Saga? Have you played any of those?
I've played the one on 64.
Paper Mario.
Paper Mario, the original one, and I think the one on the Thousand Year Door. I played that a little bit.
Okay,
yeah.
that one's on the GameCube.
Yeah.
So let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll get into what we're really going to need to talk about. Retro Game Society. We'll be right back. Hey, listeners. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, a.k.a. your in-game boss. And I want to let you know that this is not the only show you can listen to. We got great shows like the In-Game Boss Podcast, the Gaming Halls of Rivalries, Bond Never Dies, and Area 44, and more to come. So if you enjoyed this show, make sure you follow and subscribe to the network so you're always updated with the newest episodes and update on any other news that happens in the In-Game Boss program. So, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the show. Hi. If you love video games and you love video game icons or characters, then please walk down the gaming halls of rivalries with us as we go through two iconic characters that rival each other in the gaming industry. Gaming characters like Mario and Sonic,
or Lara Croft and Nathan Drake,
or like Dante and Bayonetta,
and Master Chief and Samus.
If you enjoy these characters, then please visit the Gaming Halls of Rivalries as part of the In-Game Boss program and enjoy fun information and fun stories and the future of these characters. Thank you. And welcome back to the In-Game Boss. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, with Miss Stacy Dunn. And we are here to talk about a community in Oklahoma that's been around for quite a while. They're the ones behind Super BitCon that happened a while back. We'll be talking about a little about, the sad ending to that story. But this is Retro Game Society, and this is a group that I came across through people posting and people are like joining, because I remember I met you at, Super BitCon, and I was trying to get with you to try to like see how we can connect and get involved with more of the people at Super BitCon, because that's our only I think it's our only gaming con in Oklahoma per se.
As far as I know of at this point, probably. Well, there's ones in Tulsa, maybe in Oklahoma City.
Okay, so in Oklahoma City was our only like con, and that's been going on, I think, roughly 5 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So I didn't go until like the 2016.
Oh,
that was my first time I went, and I think that's the first time I met you, because that was when what's his face from Double, was it the guy from Double Dare? Summers.
Mark Summers, yeah.
Yeah, was that this year, or was it the guy from the Arcade Tilt? I mean, the arcade show.
Well, they were both there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and the guy the guy that did NBA Jam, he was there too.
Mark Tamel.
Yeah, he was there too that year.
I think he was there 2000. Well, he might have been. I don't know if I saw him because I was working an art booth then.
Okay, I swear it was like 2016, because I think he was doing stuff over there on the other side where everybody was testing out, playing all the old consoles in that room, and I think NBA Jam was like a little booth or something over there or something like that. And so, and I remember because that was the same year I met Metroid Mike for the first time.
Yeah.
And I had him come on the show and talk. And so, but Stacy, for the listeners, what is Retro Game Society?
Retro Game Society is I guess the best way to describe it is just a community that loves retro games.
Okay.
We have monthly meetups, which right now are on every third Friday of the month at Cactus Jack's in Oklahoma City. And it started, I wasn't actually in the group when it started. I joined when there was about 100 or 200 people already. It started with a couple of people on Craigslist, just kind of doing a...
Whoa, it was on Craigslist?
Yeah,
okay.
It started on Craigslist, like, hey, I want to create this group. Who's interested?
Okay.
And this was before Facebook groups were really big.
Okay.
So they started having the monthly meets at each other's houses, and then the idea of a convention was sprung to life. And
Okay.
at this time, I was working at GameStop, and I had
Which one, by the way?
Oh, gosh.
I used to work the one on Danforth a while back.
Yeah,
that was 2005.
A ton of them.
Okay.
This was 2012 or 13.
Okay.
And I think I was at the one on Rockwell Northwest Expressway at this time.
Okay.
And I had a customer come in, and he was a part of this, and he said, hey, I think this would be something that'd be right up your alley. You can make a lot of friends, and there's going to be a convention coming up in the next year. So I joined it. I immediately made friends because, as I talked about on Boys podcast too, like when I came to Oklahoma, I literally Googled like how to make friends. It was really sad. It was a sad time because I had come from another place, and I can be kind of awkward too, even though I'm socially, a
So
social butterfly.
you're not the type of person, or maybe you're now what you are. Are you the type of person that can easily approach somebody, or are you better if someone approaches you?
I'm better if someone approaches me, and
Okay.
that's the thing. I'll try
I
to
think
approach...
that's mostly gamers.
Yeah, I'll try to approach other people, but I'm not the best at it. And,
Okay.
And that's where I struggle.
Okay.
So I'm in the group, and they start, the leaders at the time were starting to ask me to make promotional material for them. Because they needed drawings and advertising and that type of thing. So I decided to help them with that. And that year, the very first year at BitCon, I was just a volunteer. I sold t-shirts. I helped with the kids cosplay contest. And then the next year I started up the Starving Art, and then I did my very first convention booth, sold all my paintings. I sold out within the first couple hours.
Nice.
Which was just very flattering, very fantastic. I made a ton of money that day.
Awesome.
And I did not know what to do with myself.
Right.
I wanted to cry. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that many people like my art, and it happened that quick.
Because I also remember that Nikki Robinson was also part of that community too, and she was part of the OK Geek podcast.
Yes.
Shout out to them. And that's who also I talked to about Nikki, trying to talk to her how do I get more involved into the con, because I would like to be on one of the panels, and I end up being one of talking to some of the people from OK Geek and just trying to get that information that I was getting ready for. But then sadly, due to the heavy weather and losing power for most of that time in 2017, I think that was the main cause.
A tornado had hit that last year.
Yeah, so sadly enough, Super BitCon came to an end.
Yes.
Would I say for now, or do you think that's a permanent thing?
In the time that I've been in Oklahoma Retro Gamer Society, there's an LLC attached to it. They own the name, and then there's also a board that runs Super BitCon. And around the time that it had been canceled, I was added to the board because they have to have an odd number of people. They had deemed me as reliable. Haha, jokes on them. So you signed the paperwork, shook a hand, and I was greeted with "Welcome to the sinking ship." That's what was said to me. And a couple months passed, and we had monthly board meetings, or it was kind of bi-monthly at that point. And I just kind of brought it up to one of the other board members, and I said, "But what if BitCon? What if BitCon again?" And then I kept asking him. I said, "We should really try to bring it back. We can do this." And then now it's a thing. We're still actively trying to bring it back. We're trying to seek sponsorship. There's a couple of different avenues that we're considering, maybe a Kickstarter. We're just kind of testing the waters and seeing, throwing things against the wall and seeing if they stick.
It's interesting because I went to a convention last year that happened in Tulsa called Expo.
I went to their 0 year.
Yeah, so it's interesting that, I don't know who's sponsoring them, but it's interesting that I guess maybe they didn't know about Super BitCon. I don't know. I would feel like that
They did.
should. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we
Okay.
went as Super BitCon. Their 0 year, I went. I wasn't on the board yet, but they just kind of let me tag along. That's kind of how it was at first. And we went to their very, very first opening of their convention.
So the society, if for people that are interested, they have a Facebook page, and that's basically, I think, where the main community is kind of talking to each other at.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know, that is a site where people kind of like, they talk about retro gaming. They post stuff. They talk about either stuff they're selling or stuff they achieved at a good price. It seems people say they found like really good deals at garage sales. But I don't know how far out this community of people are posting. Are we talking about like all over Oklahoma, or are we talking about maybe it stops at Enid or Stillwater?
They're all over. There's actually people in other states too.
Oh, okay.
Right now, I think there's 4,100 members.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Last time I checked. A lot of them are clustered in Oklahoma City and then Tulsa, because that's just kind of how it is.
Right.
But it goes as far as the Panhandle. I've seen people everywhere. There's actually quite a few people that are in Texas, Kansas.
Okay.
But it's centralized in Oklahoma though.
So what is the best way for people to be part of Retro Game Society? Like, what's the best way?
The best way is just comment, inject yourself in the community, be involved. If you can make it to the meetups, try and go. I was super reluctant to do it at first. I understand.
And let's talk about it for a minute. What was the reaction? Like, what was the feel when you first went to your first like meetup with them? Like,
it's like when you go to a party and you know one person and you're like, I just want to cling to this one person, and then they walk away and there you are, you're standing, you feel like you have a spotlight on you, and you're like, your palms are sweaty, mom's spaghetti, you don't know what to do.
I guess I got the opposite effect, because like when I first went to one of the meetups, I think I got there before you did.
Yeah.
And so when I went there, I think as been doing podcasting, I think you have to have that mentality. You're going to have to be the first one to go at it. Go in. Everybody kind of stared at me and they're like, who is this guy?
You're better at it than I am.
Yeah. I guess too, because when I'm walking in, I'm wearing like a hoodie or anything. I look like a guy like, he doesn't look like he belongs here. So like I'm walking around just looking at everybody. Yeah. And I knew like, okay, no one's going to come and say hi to me. I need to project myself to them, because I have this thing where I think that anybody that goes in, I think someone, either there's a leader there or someone needs to take that step to just say, hey, are you here for this? Just someone to acknowledge.
That's me, and I need to be so much better about it, and I know that.
Well, I don't want to say just you. I think it should be a little bit of everybody, because you could still welcome someone in. Doesn't mean that people are still not going to really talk to you. And it's not just retro game. That's any community I think you go into is, one person brings you in, but I think you're going to have to take the next steps from there if you really want to get into that and then get some friends. Because when I went in there, most people just kind of stared, looked at me, and they kind of went on themselves. But, I noticed when we started talking, people were coming up to us, and then I would just go straight into, hey, what's your name? Because I have this thing where, I don't mind people listening, but I'd rather you come in and put your input in too. Like, if you're going to sit here and listen, put your opinion on there. This conversation, it's not like you and me one-on-one talking. We're kind of in a wide half circle. So like, come and talk. Yeah. And so, but to be part of this meeting, would you suggest if anybody come in, it's probably best if you try to project yourself to them more than they project to you?
For me, or?
For people that want to go to these meetups. Do you recommend them, like, when you go in, you might have to take that first step? I know it sucks, but maybe you have to be the one to pick, especially maybe if you don't come, what they're going to do?
Yeah.
Someone else has to be, someone has to take a step, right?
I saw, we had that recent thread about it, and I saw a lot of comments where people were like, it feels really cliquey, and I want to own that criticism, because I know that I just talked to certain people, because as open and easy to talk to as I am, I don't always recognize that I do things like that, because I don't recognize that I ignore people, and it's something I need to be aware of.
Do you think that's because you're used to who's always there, so you never really you don't really get new people, so you really don't get used to like introducing people all the time? Or
and I haven't had that role really, or haven't really considered it until people started talking about it. So it's something that I want to accept that criticism. Like, okay, this isn't happening for people. Someone needs to do it. They see me as, I'm the one that manages the event. I need to do it. Mm-hmm. So that's something I need to do, and I know it.
Has it always been before you've been part of it, where the meetups more like everybody kind of do their own thing and just talk among each other, or was there an event like, someone announcing like, hey, this is what's going on for us for Retro. This is our goals. This is what we're trying to do. Were there any kind of setup back then when you were just kind of like, observing?
There was a lot. There was events sometimes that people would bring TVs. They would have tournaments. And
that was one of my questions I was gonna ask. Yeah.
And there was also raffles for charity.
Okay.
There was a thing where they were raising money and people would get a pie in the face.
Okay.
And I'm trying to work more toward scheduling things like that also. It's just with Artcade and then working on Super BitCon and then my bodybuilding competition.
Right.
I'm like, I don't have any extra time. I'm sorry.
Right. There's only so much you can eat on that plate at a time, right? Yeah. Sometimes you got to put it in the refrigerator and you'll get back to it in a minute. Yeah. I completely understand that. I think that's also part of growing up. It's just, you
prioritize.
Yeah, well, you have that split where you want to take care of your own goals, but on top of that, you want to help people at the same time. And that's a hard split. And sometimes, I think that sometimes you got to roll with certain punches. Yeah, I know I want to work on my passion thing. Yes, I'll take a couple hits from Red Society, but I know that I will make up for it later.
And for Halloween, for example, I'm doing a cosplay contest.
Okay.
Which I'm not competing in. I'm going to be one of the.
Well, you confident you're going to kill it with Boma? Yeah, are you that confident?
I just don't think it'd be fair to me be the one in charge of the prize and then hey, guess what, guys?
I guess it's kind of like if you do a raffle
Yeah.
and you get your own ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can understand that.
So there's going to be a mystery prize if it's going to be a group voting thing. So people have to come and have to vote. And then Christmas, we always do a Secret Santa exchange.
Okay.
Or White Elephant, whatever you want to call it. There's different names. So those are events that I know will come through, and I don't have to do any extra planning. As far as the turn of the year goes, I'm going to do a lot more whenever I have more time to focus on it.
Okay, so I got a tough question for you. What are a couple of things that you believe got accomplished in that community, and what are the couple of things that you would like Retro Game Society to improve on?
Things that accomplished. I would say that BitCon was a huge accomplishment. Okay. It proved that there is a want and a need for gaming conventions in Oklahoma because it was never really a thing. Like, yeah, we have, smaller Comic-Cons, there's Wizard World, but I think BitCon was the first real community event too that was gamer centric.
Okay.
Because I don't think it was just for people buying and selling. I think it did create a community, and it fostered relationships, I think. I mean, I met my boyfriend at BitCon, so
okay.
That's a thing.
Okay. I was curious, but at the same time, I was like, they probably just met like normal people do. They met up somewhere and they just talked. So, okay.
Nope, yeah. I met him at BitCon. He came up to my table, asked me about my paintings, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's so cute. And then I didn't end up dating him until like a year later. But,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that means, so I guess you could say like, without Retro Society, you wouldn't be with who you're with right now.
Hockey,
so,
yeah.
So do you sometimes kind of feel like you kind of owe Retro Society something?
Yeah. It is kind of a feeling like that. And I think a lot of people have that, and that's why we don't want it to stop.
Right.
You've met some of your best friends maybe, or you got that thing that you wanted for so long, or, that special gem that you had when you were a kid. Now you have it again because of someone in Retro Gamer Society. And I've had that happen too.
I think it's always a gem when you go in and someone has the same interest that you have.
Yeah.
And that's how you click.
Yeah.
And so, so what about the things that you would like to improve on for the society, and not just you personally, but just the society itself? Like, what do you hope that you want to help improve on in there?
That would, I think, involve me having a little bit of criticism towards certain attitudes. And I think that in gaming in general, people can be more inclusive. I think that, there can be a lot of sexism and racism in gaming. And I think that's something that I'm not targeting Retro Gamer Society specifically. It's the gaming community as a whole. And I think that, someone that worked at GameStop for 6 years I can tell you that there's a lot of just microaggressions that I've seen, and I think gamers don't always know that they do it, and that's, as long as they can accept it humbly and be like, okay, I can change. And I think that's something that people can improve
I was
on.
actually having a conversation about how different when it comes to communities where gamers our age growing up, the only time we would actually get social if someone comes over and enjoys what we like compared to online. And I think now, since online, people are more seclusive because, they just play online with their friends, probably never met them, and they go on their merry way. But compared to back in the day, like if you really want to hang out, you have to go over to their place, and you have to socialize with them. And I think that can be a little bit happening in the gaming community right now when it comes to making community groups. People are not used to leaving their home to go talk to people about other games sometimes, unless there's something there. Like I think BitCon is a different because it's a community and there's another goal. Like I'm there, maybe meet some people, but they have a game I want or this. They're still kind of feeling like they're going in for their own reasons, not there to
or it's something to do.
Yeah. But when it comes to a little community, I think people get nervous of, I don't know if I'll fit in because I don't know if they're the same interests than I have,
Or if
and
they
all
might
this
gatekeep or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know if I say the wrong thing, and I think people kind of overthink when they come in those communities and stuff like that. Or just in general, maybe people are just not community people. Maybe they're just not used to people. But I always believe that you don't know until you try. It never hurts to go in, try it. If it's for you, awesome. If it's not, then move on. But I think it's one of these things here for this one, since it kind of got it looks like it shrank a little bit, that I think you have to go there about maybe a couple more times to really get a feel for it. Just like me when I first went in, I'm not going to say I had a worse time, but I'm not going to say I had the best time either. It was just it was normal. But I need to go there more because maybe this time it'll be a bigger group than the last time I went.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
the meets used to be a lot bigger, especially whenever BitCon was more prevalent. I think that was a very big draw. And it used to be every time we were there, it would be packed. There would be 30, 40 people back there. And now it's 15 or 20 if we're lucky. And like I said, I do want to create a bigger interest and keep this going because it is a way for people to connect and make friends. And I appreciate that.
Would you ever thought of, other than your event coming up, Arcade for 2018, but other than that, is there other events that you don't have to tell me now, but do you have any events in store other than you have your Halloween coming up, but do you have any other events in store that you think I think this will be really cool for us to work on next until we get that goal of bringing Super BitCon back? Do you have other events maybe in store?
Not yet.
Okay.
I've been kind of just focused on the things that I'm doing right now, and I haven't really thought outside the box on anything else.
Okay. So, what do you think, in your opinion, and you don't have to answer it if you don't have to, but what do you honestly feel right now for your Retro Game Society? Do you what's your vibe with them right now? Do you think that is more I feel distance from them? Do I feel like that they're not getting more involved at these events? What's your feel of Retro Society right now for you?
I love and appreciate all the people that are in there. I think that there could be a lot more involvement from everyone. I was in the break, we were kind of talking about how they want things, like door prizes and those types of things. But even if there have been times where I've done raffles and then people still it didn't increase the numbers. Like, oh yeah, I'll come for that. And then they didn't come. So it's, if these things do go on, you do have to come, if you're asking for things. Do
you think the marketing is not quite big as what it was back in the day, where you guys would keep advertising so much back in the day, come to this event, but here, do you feel it's less advertisement when you come up with events? It feels are you the only one that's kind of setting it up and you're not seeing people spreading the word?
Devin and I always post about the event. We'll
and Devin
share
is,
it.
and for listeners, Devin
is another admin.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
We share it often, but it basically stops at us sharing it. People might comment on it. we'll reshare it, at least once a week up until it happens, and then the night before.
Okay. So before I hit my last question, I'm pretty sure my listeners want to know, well, who the hell is Stacy Dunn? So Stacy, I'm going to ask you some quick questions about yourself. So what kind of gamer would you think you are? Are you more of an RPG? Are you more of a adventure? Are you more of a shooter? What kind of gamer are you?
I love RPGs. I love point and click adventures too.
Okay.
It's a guilty pleasure.
I have a hard time getting into those. I
Dating
think I just haven't found the
sims.
right one yet. Okay. Dating sims. Okay.
All those things.
Was that something just growing up, or is that still something you do now?
It was more something growing up. I'd like to play more now. Again, I have a lot of guilty pleasure games too.
Okay.
That's one of them.
Okay, but you mentioned RPGs. Can you give my listeners some games that you enjoyed in the RPG realm?
Yeah, I like Saga Frontier, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, Mario RPG, Legend of Legaia.
Okay.
There's all kinds of games.
Did you have you gone further up on the line, Rogue Galaxy, Ni no Kuni?
Ni no Kuni I did play. Rogue Galaxy I did not.
And you're a Pokemon fan.
I do love Pokemon.
I consider Pokemon an RPG.
I would too. Borderlands I do consider an RPG.
Okay.
Skyrim or Elder Scrolls in general.
Okay.
Actually, I'm more of an Oblivion fan. Let me correct
So
myself.
you like dipping in the Western and the Eastern RPGs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And JRPGs too.
Yeah.
Tales of Symphonia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the Tales series. That's my favorite series of all time. I like it way better than Final Fantasy, but that's a different conversation. So as a gamer, what are the things that you love about gaming, and what are the things that you don't like about gaming? Like is it the way that the consoles are working out? I don't like these new updates they do. Those kind of things. What as a gamer are you like and don't like right now?
Well, I have a PC, so I do a lot of my gaming. Yeah, I know you rolled your eyes a little bit. It's one of those. Yeah. I have at home we have every console, so it's,
okay.
But
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, but
your boy gave me quite a resume.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We own basically everything.
He's a collector. For anybody want to know, he is quite a collector.
He's got thousands of games, and it's not an exaggeration.
Where does he put all? Does he have a cave? Does he have a cave in the house?
Yeah, there's a bookshelf, and you have to pull out a book, and then it opens up.
You need to get some pictures. I need to do my interview in there with him. I won't touch anything. I just want to do an interview in there.
There's a lot of tubs. There's a lot of shelves.
Okay.
If that's, I'm sorry if that's ruining your.
No, we can make it happen. We can.
Dream.
Green screen. We'll just pretend. No.
But yeah. My favorite platform to play on is PC.
Okay.
If it's not PC, I do love the Switch. PlayStation over Xbox, I'm definitely PlayStation.
Okay.
So if that answers any questions, PlayStation just has the better RPGs.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. You're just gonna go. You're gonna go with the games that you enjoy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So PlayStation always own the realm of the RPGs, and then Nintendo is kind of slowly behind.
Right.
Xbox is still kind of. I think they realized that we're not winning.
Yeah.
Because we did do some JRPGs over there.
They had Blue Dragon on the 360.
And they had Lost Odyssey.
I remember
And then
that.
they had Eternal Sonata.
I remember
that later on went on the PlayStation.
Oh.
And then they had that exclusive Tales of Vesperia too.
On Discovery was another one, I think.
Infinite, yeah. That was a game that was good at the beginning, and it just fell
apart.
Yeah. Yep. And I blame the developers, because those developers are good at making games look good, but sometimes their battle system and their structure always fall out. And I try Ace, because there's some people that did Star Ocean. Star Ocean is good, but sometimes the gameplay kind of just falls apart on you.
Yeah.
The only game I think I came out of liking Elias Radiata Stories. That's probably the only one I really, really liked them from, and that was on the PS.
I played that one.
You haven't played that one? Oh, the game is so good. But that's the only one I can really take. I like. Oh well, Valkyrie Profiles was pretty good. I forgot about that one.
I haven't played that one either.
Yeah.
But it's it's on my list of things to do.
And then they did that new game with the guns. What's it called? Residence of Fate.
Resonance of Fate?
Yeah. They did that new one, and now it's getting a 4K remaster edition.
That's fast.
Yeah, I know, right? I guess people just don't want. I guess people want it, and I that's why I'm arguing on my last episode about okay, if Sega could bring this back. There is no excuse Skies Arcade can't come back. It was and Shenmue came back. And that
it did, didn't it?
Yeah, it came back. And that game was the most expensive game in the era of 2001. It was the most expensive game. It was over $1 million. But they brought that back.
What was that game called? Was it Azure Dreams? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Where you had to like go in the different levels?
Yes, I didn't get far in it, but I know exactly what you're talking
Okay.
about. Yeah. Even what's it called? Elutra. It was like a top-down kind of game. Kind of reminds you of Zelda kind of game. But anyways, that's beside the point. So, also on top of that, what are some things you don't like about in gaming?
In gaming?
Mm-hmm.
I think I mentioned. I don't know if it's the community or just gaming in general.
Just in gaming, not
Just in
community.
gaming.
Yeah, no,
Not-
just
not-
as a
okay,
gamer
just
yourself.
as a
What are
gamer.
some things you don't like about right now in gaming?
Tropes and cliches. Like I hate whenever I completely expect something in a game. I like to be surprised.
Okay.
I know that can be hard to do because, like, you know, and that's even in movies too. Like when you're story writing, it can be difficult to come up with brand new, fresh ideas.
Right.
And especially with everything getting remastered and remastered and remastered.
Right.
Then that's another
Right.
grievance where I do like for things to come back, but sometimes it can get a little, it's like having several mosquito bites. Like, why does this keep biting? This isn't, stop it.
I get sick of a repackage on a repackage.
Yes.
Like Kingdom Hearts is a series that really needs to
Oh
stop
my
repeating.
God.
Did you hear they're doing they got another package coming out? Now it's all of them for $40 now, and it's like this has to stop, guys. Because like I was talking about on my on show with Area 41 with John, I told him like this is a series that I think it's time for Kingdom Hearts to come to an end. Like I think this third one, like the third one took too long to be made. And they said I think this is the final story for Sora, but they said Kingdom Hearts might keep going. I'm like, just
No.
end it here.
Stop
Just end
it.
it here, and let's just move on with our lives.
I believe very strongly, with the exception of Final Fantasy, because it's not a continuation. When a game is a continuation, I believe that a trilogy is usually the best way. It's like the rule of threes. It just works.
Right.
The second one's always the best somehow. I don't know how.
You think it's because of the gameplay got improved more than the story? I think that's what it is.
I think that's true in Mass Effect, especially.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2 was just like phenomenal.
I
Dead
think
Space
that's
2 was
what it
great.
is when it comes to trilogies. Like the first one's always going to have a good story, but the second one is going to have a big improvement, hopefully.
And then the
in
third
gameplay.
one's like, yeah.
It tried. Now that you got the perfection of the second one with the gameplay, now you're trying to combine two, and it's just like, well, at least you ended. You know what I mean?
You got there.
Right. So let's get to our last question, and the question is, what is the future for Retro Game Society?
I want it to be a future full of rainbows and unicorns, and everyone's happy. Mm-hmm. And there's plenty of things for us to do. I want to keep engaging people, and I want to keep those relationships going.
Okay.
That's my idea for the future.
Okay. Awesome. So with that, anybody that's interested in the Retro Game Society, you can always visit Miss Stacy Dunn on Facebook. But the best place to really get to know your community is definitely look for Retro Game Society. They're really easy. You guys don't have a Twitter, I guess. You guys don't have a Twitter, right?
I barely use my own Twitter.
Okay. So I don't think it's Twitter. Because I don't know who's in charge of the Facebook. Is it someone else, or is that you also?
No, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah. Mainly, well, there's other people, but it's mainly me that's
Okay.
posting and engaging and doing all those things.
Because like it's funny because like I'll post some stuff on there, but I'm trying to be careful. Like I'm hoping they're not thinking I'm just doing this because I just want to get my name out there. I mean that's part of it, but at the same time, like I do want to know the community also. But I do better meeting them in person than typing in my comments to something.
Yeah,
I'd rather
understand that.
meet you in person and hear your opinion, and that way I can get your reactions a little bit better than on a comment, because I don't know, I feel like you could be a lot safer getting away what you want to say, but in person I can understand you a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Right. And as far as the admins go, it's mainly just I mentioned Devin earlier, and there's one in Tulsa named Jordan.
Okay.
He helps do the events in Tulsa.
Okay. And when's the last time, like, do you guys talk on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Okay.
He and I message each other pretty often.
Okay. But you can always visit them on Facebook. That's the only place right now that we know that you can visit them, and it's probably the best place right now. I don't think you really need any other social media. I don't think you have Instagram.
No, it gets too sticky.
There you go. But definitely go to their meetings. There's a meeting coming up on October
19th. That's a Friday.
So definitely go there and just meet the community and everything. Hopefully the In-Game Boss program itself will be trying to help Retro Society, kind of help do some events there once we kind of get an idea what we want to do with that. But go for people as using myself as an example. When I went there, I would recommend people going into that. Don't go in too hype, I guess. Like go in to observe and just see what that world's like, and you might have to project yourself to it. I know some people don't like that, and I know people that they prefer, I'm going in here. I expect them to come to me more than I go to them. But I think it's better for you, because if you're afraid to go up to somebody, think about them doing that same to you. So maybe you got to project yourself to them, and you never know. Once you get in there, you can be the coolest kid there. I don't know.
It's not me.
Right. But go there, make some friends. Stacy said that there is events coming up that she's hopefully will be coming soon in her way. But maybe when you go there, maybe you'll have some fresh ideas you can lay on Stacy. Maybe Stacy will take those into consideration and whatnot. And they're always doing it at Cactus Jacks. For people that don't know what Cactus Jacks is, it is an arcade place where they do pinballs, which I suck at pinballs. I swear I put a quarter in, my quarter's gone in a second because that ball falls it looked better in the game. And so, but one side is all pinballs, the other side is a bunch of arcade games, and there's a lot of old school ones with some new ones in there. But I saw Stacy; she was killing it on DDR when I was walking off when I left.
That's my favorite game to play. Yeah.
Right, but they have some card games. They're mostly, I think there are a lot of more Sega arcade games in the back, and then I saw a lot of the fighting and more of the old school games on the front, and everything like that. And support your local places, because we only have that one and Retro Pub right now. But Retro Pub is more of more adult oriented. Like, you have to be 21 to get into that world. But Cactus Jack is open for all ages.
Yep, that's why we do it.
Yep. So go in, say hi to Stacy. Give her a pat on the back, say you're doing a good job and whatnot. But this is not the end of the show. We have another show that's going to be part of this. So definitely click and listen to that one. This is our part B, where we're going to be talking about actually a big event coming out on October 16th. 26th. I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's on a Friday, and it'll be starting at 6 p.m. But listen to B, because we're going to go right into the interview of that one and talk about what is Artcade, how it got started, what is the future, and what is Stacy getting out of it, and how she been a great host doing it. And I'll talk about my experience. I'll be talking my experience when I went there. And FYI, I didn't get a chance to talk to Stacy. Stacy said I'm busy.
I was so busy.
Yeah, she was just saying hi, bye, get a drink, but I won't be able to talk to you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to buy this. So we will catch you on the next episode. But remember, you can always catch all our shows on YouTube, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Make sure you look up the In-Game Boss program, because the way this network works is all of these shows are part of it. Because our goal is, if you come for that show, we want you to come to listen to the rest of them. And we will catch y'all on our next episode.